Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. All right, guys, a lot to go over. I'm going to stick solely to the Bitcoin and crypto market for this video specifically. All right. Now, big picture, there's really two different possibilities here. Either the bottom is in and we're going to start moving higher, and what we have seen is a legitimate reversal, or the bottom is not in and this is just a dead cat bounce, a bear market rally, a bull trap, whatever you want to call it, right? So one of those two situations will likely play out. And you know my thoughts on this for the most part. I mean, guys, I got paid today. I would prefer buying at 30% cheaper prices, all right? A lot of these positions are getting close to their average cost basis, and at that point, I'm going to stop buying. So I have capital set aside every couple of weeks to buy, and I would prefer to buy at lower prices. All right. So I just want to set the stage the same way 3 or 4 weeks ago when I said I thought they were going to start pushing prices back higher. You know, obviously I don't want that because I don't want to buy at higher prices. You know, I assume that if implementation continues and that this is the new system, that at some point prices are going to go up. And so when that happens is not really a big concern of mine. And that's that. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on here that have me very conflicted on this whole situation. The great part is when people call, you know, people could say this is a bull trap, bear trap, or that maybe we just had the bear trap, who knows. But there's no bull trap for me, okay? I dollar cost average. And as long as it's at a purchase price that is suitable given, you know, where the all-time high is, given the fundamentals of the company, given especially, more importantly, where my average is, then, you know, I'm just dollar cost averaging. So I don't care. You always talk about, you know, bull traps and this and that and the other. There's no bull trapping somebody that just dollar cost averages into companies they believe in. All right. So I just want to make that point. Here's the thing, guys. So we have a lot of positive and negative catalysts that could happen at any moment in time. Well, some of them aren't going to happen until a specific time period, but there's many others, positive and negative, that could happen theoretically in the next week, in the next couple months, so on and so forth. And a lot of the markets themselves, I'm completely out of the stock market. The S&P is showing some signs. It was in a descending wedge, and then there's some other metrics as well, which I can share that in my community tab later. And Pelosi just bought a lot of NVIDIA stock right before they are expected to pass the CHIPS Act. We'll see whether or not that happens. All right. But I'm completely out of the stock market. Not, you know, nothing against stocks, or, I mean, there's a lot of companies that I'd like to own. It looked like crypto was a better opportunity for me at this point in time. Okay. So would you expect, let's just say, hypothetical scenario, if you expect that the market's going to go up at some point in the next 2 years, so this would roll into and past the halving, right? Because there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then over the next 2 years, just listing off a few. The Fed could pivot. And when I say pivot, I mean, in my opinion, as long as bond yields stay low, that is an indicator that they're still in QE on that aspect. Sure, they can raise rates, but in my personal opinion, they're just going to have to raise debt to GDP. They're going to have to cut government spending, or, you know, and the Fed's going to have to continue to buy more bonds to keep bond yields suppressed. Because if bond yields spike again, it's everything goes out the window. So let's just go over the few things that could happen in the foreseeable future, in the upcoming months. The Fed pivots. The halving about 1.5 years out. CBDCs rolled out in 2023 and 2024. Crypto regulatory clarity. Also, potential stimulus checks. Also, the $250 billion spending bill for the tech industry. 50-some billion dedicated to the semiconductor manufacturers, and the other 200 billion just for the tech industry, for research and development and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that are coming in the horizon that could serve as positive catalysts. Now, there's a lot of things that could, I mean, there's a million things that could serve as negative catalysts. There's too many to name. All right. Okay. So would you expect them to move markets before, let's just say it's a foregone conclusion that in 90 days from right now, the Fed's going to pivot. So they're going to raise rates. They're going to have their break. They have a month-long break. So it'll be a 2-month period before they meet again. Let's just say 90 days from now, speaking hypothetically, that the Fed is definitively going to pivot. And at that point in time, markets are going to respond positively. So that's going to be a positive catalyst. Would you expect them to leave markets down at their, we'll call it local bottoms, because I'm not saying the bottom is in. I have no idea, right? That's why dollar cost average, and I don't try to time markets, because I acknowledge that I have no idea what's going to happen with the markets. Would you expect them to move the markets before a catalyst, or would you expect them to leave markets down at their local bottoms and then announce the catalyst, give people plenty of time to reposition themselves, and then pump markets? So let's just thought experiment. Prices are down. Let's just say Bitcoin's back at 17.5 or even 15K, whatever. Alts are back down where they were, and stocks are back down where they were whenever, they reach there. We'll just call it a local bottom. Would you expect them to move markets before they announce a catalyst or after they announce a catalyst? So if they move the markets after they announce a catalyst, again, you're giving people plenty of time to get positioned. You're just doing everybody a solid, more or less, right? Because markets are supposed to be forward-looking. And I would expect them to move the markets before major catalysts. That way, if people are on the wrong side, they're on the wrong side. Whether or not that plays out, we'll see. All of this could blow up any day. We're really in uncharted territory, so who knows? My thing is, I know that if this is going to be the new system, and I believe that it is, and it's going to be continued to be implemented, which I believe that it will be, that they have to get prices from point A to point B at some point in time, because a lot of these things are down 90-95%, or they were down 90-95%. So they have to get prices from point A to point B at some point in the next, let's call it 2 years. What better time for them to do that than over the next 6 months? Because for this reason, the economic collapse narrative is alive and well. It's an entire industry. The economic collapse coverage has become an industry in and of itself. Content creators are coming out of the woodworks every day, all day, every day. A collapse is coming. Everything's falling apart. And they're not really wrong. I'm not a big proponent of people who just come out and say a collapse is coming every day and offer no real solutions. And don't talk about, because there's a lot of people that do that, but they never really say what they're doing with their own personal finances, which, okay, cool, awesome, a collapse is coming. Thanks, bro. One video, you can get that message across every single day. And so the collapse narrative is very strong. And the last thing that anybody would expect is a big market boom throughout the rest of the year. Well, that's the last thing that the overwhelming majority of people would expect, right? So the fact that they're not expecting that, and what I went over a few weeks ago, where 75% of retail was bearish on the market, and, well, not bearish on the market, 75% of retail thought that we were definitely going lower. That is indicative of a large percentage, not necessarily 75%, but a large percentage of them are probably short on the market. So if you're going to do this and take prices from point A to point B at some point in the next year and a half, 2 years, because even the people that think it's not going to move until the halving, you're still acknowledging that things are going to happen in the next 2 years, roughly. I mean, give or take, 3-6 months. But how do you get prices from point A to point B with the least amount of normal people benefiting from it significantly financially? How do you do that? Well, in my opinion, you would move the markets when people were least expecting it, and when the highest percent possible that you could possibly get are short on the market. Because in my opinion, and many people say this, the market is designed to take the most amount of money from the most people, which is why I don't try to guess. And I wouldn't want to be guessing right now. And again, back to the very first thing that I said at the beginning of the video, I would prefer prices go lower for the next 3 to 6 months. That's what I said weeks ago, that remains the same right now. All right? Because if these alts continue to move up, I'm going to have to stop buying. Well, I don't necessarily have to stop buying, but I'm going to stop buying. Algorand, Polkadot, and Polygon are all very close to my original purchase price. And at that point, I'm pulling back and I'm not buying anymore. Now, with my other ones where I can still lower my average and accumulate, I will. But, you know, I would prefer cheaper prices, all right? And there's a lot of scary catalysts out there that could cause people to not believe this is real. Mt. Gox, the Fed raising rates, you know, the recession, inflation, all these other things, right? So many people are just going to ignore what's happening right now, and maybe rightfully so, right? Because we could go back down a week from today, just as quickly as things changed upward, things can go right back down, right? But there's going to be let's just say, speaking hypothetically, that this is legitimate and it's going to go up. A very large percentage of retail is out of the market, and a very large, relative to what it was 6 months ago. And a very large percentage of the general public that was not in crypto is not going to touch crypto because of what happened over the last 2 months, right? So this way, if you're looking at the Max Payne situation, and this is what I went over a month ago in my video, why would Bitcoin go lower? When I 100% acknowledge that it could, but I said that the Max Payne situation would be up at that point. Driving it down, when we were, let's just go back 3 weeks, driving it down to 10 to 12K, they were only bailing out retail doing that. There comes a certain level where if you continue to drop it, you're only benefiting other people. And in my personal opinion, that was the 20K range. Because everybody was looking at Voyager, Celsius, Three Arrows, and saying, because these companies are, you know, probably going to have to go bankrupt or be liquidated, prices have to go down. And I remember saying, guys, they can keep the market's fake, okay? The market is fake. And to that point, you know, supply has been going up on exchanges over the last 5 or 6 days, and there's been some whale selling, a decent amount of whale selling Bitcoin. I should have mentioned that earlier in the video because people need to hear that, and a lot of people probably already stopped watching. But understand that there has been some whale selling of Bitcoin. Now, this could be a number of things. They might just know a big dump is coming and they're getting out of the market. It doesn't make sense that they would be taking profits because these are some of the addresses that were buying up in the 30s. So it wouldn't make sense, you know. They could have moved into alts. They could just move their Bitcoin back on exchanges because they know that we monitor their wallet addresses, and maybe these are institutions that are just interested in pushing mass fear. Who knows? But just know that that did happen, all right? Bitcoin's up roughly 35, 36%. I think we pulled back under 24 right before I started doing this video. Matic, 190%. Quant, 175%. Ethereum's up 80%, roughly. Cosmos, 90%. Aave, over 100%. So all of this could change. This is my official position, and I should have said this earlier in the video. The higher alts go, the less likely I think they're coming down. So now, yeah. So me believing that the market's going to take a turn to the downside, that is going to drop as alts go up. So that's my official position. The higher alts go, and I don't think that we're at a point right now where anything is definitive. And I think even if things go up significantly more from here over the next week, I still don't think that, but that's my position. The higher alts go, blue chip alts, the less likely I think we're coming down. So, but I don't care one way or the other. That's the great part about just dollar cost averaging and just holding and just continually pushing averages down. The fact that I'm even about to be in, you know, just look, you know, I'm close to being in profit. The whole thing could dump tomorrow, today. But the fact that I'm even that close to being in profit on those three core positions of mine, it's, you know, I'm kind of in disbelief, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, guys. You know, I wouldn't want to be guessing right now. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't want to be guessing. If prices go down, great. If that's it, and prices are going to start moving up, then I took advantage of the bottom. So it's a win-win situation for me, right? And that's why I'm a big proponent of just dollar cost averaging and holding. But I understand everybody has their own strategy, and, you know, we'll see what happens. That's all I have for this video, guys. Sorry. I mean, I know I'm kind of all, playing both sides of it, but, I don't know what's going to happen. And I think that people should look at both sides and just say, okay, be prepared for either situation. And my strategy doesn't change regardless. So that's that. That's all I have for this video. Thank you, everyone who has liked, shared, and subscribed. I will get out another video over the next couple days. Take care. Have a good day. I will see you in the next video.